And based on the capacity and the state of our nervous system, it determines where all the resources in our body go. Do they go to longevity functions, to regenerate our heart, to digest properly, to sleep properly, to balance our hormones in the right way, for us to be able to think clearly, trust ourselves, be creative? Or are they going to things to make our palms sweat, to raise our heart rate, to cause anxiety or worrying or things like that? And so the big insight here is that all of that occurs before we do think or do anything.
Unconsciously, correct?
Automatically,
okay.
in milliseconds,
yes.
without thinking about it.
Right.
And so that process is huge, because everything up into that point now is the most valuable thing. It's setting the capacity so that when you start thinking or doing, there's an increased quality to it. So I think that is wildly powerful.
Let's stay on the scientific side
Yeah.
for a bit, because it's been a while myself. Sympathetic, parasympathetic. What are those, and how does frequency influence one or the other, or both?
So if you think about it in a chain reaction, okay, the first thing that happens in the chain is that it gets filtered through our subconscious programs. Mm-hmm. So these are ingrained neural pathways that drive the automatic responses that we have. Then it moves into the capacity of our nervous system, meaning how much demand, how much responsibility are we able to take on while maintaining our key functions. Think about it as the size of your battery. Then you get to the state of the nervous system, which is the balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic state, which would be more equivalent to the charge of your battery.
Okay.
From that element, then you get into the expression of your human intelligence capacities, or lack thereof. So that would be clarity, emotional sovereignty, equanimity, creativity, vision, adaptability. Those are the things, right? And if you are not expressing the human intelligence capacities, then you are expressing the symptoms of not having them, right? So if you either have clarity, or the symptom would be mental noise, decision paralysis, things like that. You're either expressing self-trust, or you might be expressing imposter syndrome, second guessing, worrying what other people think. You could be expressing a human intelligence capacity of creativity, or you could be expressing just copying what everyone else is doing, following a clear path. And so all of those, and then you have the capacities of whether you're expressing the capacities or the symptoms. Then you feel your emotions, you think, and you do stuff.
Yes.
And so to realize that all of that stuff is occurring in milliseconds all the time is one, super economically relevant.
Yes. Well, I say yes, but that's easy for me to say. I want to just pause. Why is that economically relevant?
So first, it's super economically relevant, and then also that people are spending time managing the symptoms of things that could be fully resolved through this.
What do you mean? How, and maybe to give an example of how someone is managing symptoms instead of fully resolving what could be.
So if you think of that chain, right? So if you're trying to change your behavior, you are at level, like the seventh part of that chain reaction. It's a very low leverage place to try to do something, right? So you're trying to stop scrolling on social media. You're trying to go to the gym consistently. You're way down here, operating with willpower, very far downstream of being able to make a change, which is why it's very ineffective and it feels very hard, right? Some people try to cope with their anxiety, right? So EFT tapping, taking psychiatric numbing pharmaceuticals. When you feel anxious, you meditate for 10 minutes, but then the next time something happens, you feel it again, right? So it's a symptom management.
You're masking, you're just putting a Band-Aid on. Yep.
So you're not resolving the root cause. You're just managing. You're finding ways to manage the symptoms.
So let's
but it
keep going.
Stop them from keep coming back.
Let's keep going deeper.
Then you move into the next level, which is emerging popular one, which is trying to improve the state of your nervous system, which is the third layer of this process, right? So that could be cold plunging, sleeping, biohacking, meditating, yoga, things like that, where the objective is to shift the state of your nervous system temporarily, right? But then when you leave the cold plunge and you go to work, then you get stressed out again, right? When you leave the meditation and then you enter your office and you're in a meeting that you lose clear thinking. When you go to the meditation retreat for 7 days and you feel good, but then you come back and on Monday morning you're back to where you started, right? So it's you're getting it at the shifting the nervous system state, and those popular techniques right now. What you're doing is you're creating a temporary shift in your state, which does provide many short-term benefits, but very clear that the benefits fade and do not provide long-term structural change. So as we keep working up, and where we get to the point is that the true solution is to shift the automatic neural pathways in our brain that then drive the capacity of our nervous system, the state of our nervous system, and downstream our emotions, behaviors, and things like that. And so the process is very proven in neuroscience. It's very well understood about how a dominant neural pathway arrives and how it gets there. It gets there through repeated activation of the pathway. So that means direct being told, right? You're being told, working, don't be in a band. You're not going to succeed in a band. Do something responsible, right? And then indirectly, you see evidence of that, and then you try to play in a band, and you're not going anywhere, and it confirms to you, yeah, I should go study science, right? And so then it starts to feel like a fact over time that artistic people is not a good career path. I should do something responsible, even though maybe you feel super passionate about it, right? So that's just one example, but then imagine thousands of those get installed. It gets installed through repetition. And it's proven in neuroscience that what we can do is through the exact same process of repetition, we can install a more dominant neural pathway that occurs automatically.
Is this what is known as neuroplasticity, I would assume?
Neuroplasticity is the innate capability for our brain to rewire.
Okay, gotcha. Well, as you're going through those examples, I'll be the first one to step up and say, I've tried them all.
Yeah, I get it.
I've done the therapy. I've done the coaching. I've done, we'll say, psychedelical experiences to try to resolve some issues within. But what I was finding is every single time a stressful situation would come back up, I'd be back in the same exact place.
Long regression.
Doing the exact same thing. And recently had an experience to where I have been applying what you were writing about in the frequency error and also through the ENCODED process, that I caught myself regressing but didn't completely fall. Like it was a new sense of awareness that I had never experienced before.